Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hi from Super Soul Farm. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesdays. Welcome back, show. We've been away for a weekend, the big fat weekend, right? Yeah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No, I hear Friday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and it's Tuesday, and I am jet lagged and out of it. It's like the old days. I rolled out of bed and was wheeled to the chair here and then just dumped on the floor, and I made myself up to a chair, and here I am.
I'm glad you're here, Raghu.
Thank you. We had, and Mara had a very, very crazy day. We're going to get into that yesterday. And when Mara has a crazy day, you know it's crazy. Because she's very
usually
steady.
Holding down the crazy.
She's usually holding down crazy. Yesterday was her crazy, and you've been sick all weekend.
Not all weekend. It hit yesterday. Oh, really? Yeah, it hit yesterday. It hit in the night before, and then I was sick all day yesterday.
I thought it was going to be all squirrels all day this morning.
What do you mean?
Meaning I thought I was going to do the show alone. All squirrels all day.
See what you mean. No, yeah. I showed.
All right, so you're better. How you had a fever?
I had a fever. The fever's gone. I still don't feel great, but I'm ready to go. 3 days off. You can't make it 4.
Right? What was that? This is a Rolling Stones song. Fever. It
wasn't Rolling Stones. I was like, what are you talking about?
No.
You give me fever? That one? Or
you give me I don't know.
The old song.
Okay. Boy, I got a lot. Who's that new guy? Jacob? The nut butter man? Jerome is like, you got to understand, Rush wrote the most divine lyrics. He's like all into Rush. He's like, you got to do a Rush week. So I'm going to go through some Rush files. I think the Rush files. Yeah. I think Rush might be transcendentalists. I know they weren't into you. You weren't into them, but
I wasn't into them when I was a kid. I wasn't interested in anything too
prog rocky.
Yeah.
I secretly liked them. I didn't publicly go out wear a Rush baseball shirt. Remember when everyone wore 3/4 baseball shirts?
Okay, Raghu. Keep it going.
Okay. Anyway, you want to hear what happened to Mara? And then I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
Mara's kitchen caught on fire.
Get out.
A full on fire. And she had her alarm, and this is a problem with these phones now that say do not disturb. You don't get the phone call, and it happened in the middle of the night.
How did it catch on fire?
Some spontaneous combustion is real. Wow. I know people are trying to poo-poo all the ideas that people can imitate, but her kitchen spontaneously caught on fire somehow mystically. Yes.
But was a lot of damage?
No, most of the damage was smoke damage, which is, at least you can repair
Just
that. It was there was a plastic bus tub that had clean kitchen towels. They'd just been laundered. That was just like
only Mara has the clean things catch on fire. If it was me, if it was my house, it'd be like, yeah, you left an oil, you changed the oil, left a rag on the radiator next to a lit cigarette.
Next to an incense.
Her clean towels caught on fire on a
She's
stainless
too
steel
clean.
table. It's too clean. That's the lesson for you.
Yeah, well, the kitchen is not clean now. It's covered with about a 1/4 inch of the chemicals from the fire extinguishers,
Oh yeah.
as well as a lot of shattered glass from when the firemen broke in the kitchen to put out the fire.
The firemen don't clean all that up.
I know. No, they break in with an axe and shatter everything, and then spray it with poison.
They did that to my apartment back on 96th Street because like something was happening like in the apartment above mine. They had to break in my door. I wasn't there. Come in, break through the ceiling, and then they just walk out and they leave it all there. Like, hold it.
Like, wait a second.
The landlord's like, I don't have to fix that either. It's just like, really?
Thank you so much. We honor you.
Well, could you clean up a little?
Could you take your boots off before you come in my apartment? Do you ever have a guy come over your house and you're like, I don't know how to say this, but can you take off your shoes? The heating guy is over.
Raghunath, I can see you're prepared to just squirrel out all day. We got to get this thing going.
Well, I got to tell you what happened.
Okay,
well, that's
let's
a
hear
big
it.
thing. Let's just validate her for a moment.
I validate Mara.
Her
and I
whole
sympathize.
life. She lives her.
No, Raghunath, you had switched
Her
over to
playing
like
field is the
okay.
kitchen. It
Great.
burnt. She's
Mara, we're
she's
with you.
broken. She's knitting her pain
Maybe the
into
community
this
can
scarf
come
right now.
together.
This is the scarf of tears right here.
Maybe the community can come together and go over there and help do the cleanup. Put that together.
Well,
Raghu. Do
no,
that
they
for
have professional people to do that. You can't do that. You'll die. The stuff they spray on that is so toxic. It goes right in your lungs, coats your lungs.
The kitchen.
Yeah.
All right, Raghunath. What happened in California over the weekend?
I was sick on the flight. I could not sleep. I slept in, barely made it to the wedding the next day, but it was fun. My kids had a great time. Wedding was beautiful. I tell you, the Hare
These
Krishna
kids,
movement,
these
the
kids.
Bhakti thing is ripe for explosion. It's ripe for explosion. I mean, the first generation of Hare Krishna was just going on pure enthusiasm by their guru, but there was no culture of Bhakti in America, really. But it's like there's like 3 generations of Hare Krishnas now. Like they started off with this kirtan, like walking in. Rakta was coming in on a horse, and like the kirtan was like booming next level, and it sent like chills up your spine. They're all dressed in these matching vests and turbans. All the wedding party for the boys. They're all like the best kirtan people in the world, singing one after another. Amala Kirtan was there, and Kishore Rico was there, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
In other words, this culture, we've, like in our Western culture, if we want to do something, you hire a band, you do. No, here it's like within the community, there's just tons of talent, right? In terms of decoration, in terms of music, in terms of dance, in terms of cooking, and it's just all right within the Bhakti culture. It's all about these arts, and you grow up with them, and boom, you can throw like quite a bash there, right?
What about the feast was incredible. The feast was incredible. The music was incredible. The dancing was incredible. Even like, I don't like rituals so much. I mean, I get a little bored with rituals. The rituals were beautiful. They bring these pujaris doing these beautiful rituals. Visheshika Prabhu explained the whole thing. He made it very, very
relevant,
accessible and relevant. And Radhanath Swami I didn't realize Radhanath Swami was going to be there. I saw Radhanath Swami. I saw Indrajumna Swami. It was very beautiful.
Oh, I was glad you had a good time. Kids had a good time?
I really, especially when I wanted to show support for Tukaram Prabhu, who's a great, great friend of mine, and congratulate him.
It was his son that was getting
his son's wedding. And bride and the groom I should post more pictures today. Bride and the groom look beautiful. But it was just like, I really went because my kids could like interact with their tribe of friends. And, that's how for this next generation, or bringing up kids in Bhakti, it's growing up as a kid, oftentimes you're not so focused on your spiritual life. You're focusing on your friends. But if you have friends that are into bhakti, then it
And
just
go
helps
along for the
you.
ride.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're trying to do here is we create a community of people where we're friends. I'm looking
Hmm.
around here. We got young Tommy Fawcett. Narayani is here. Mallory's here. We're all friends. I just like these people. And, you know, we want friends that lift us higher. And I think that's like an important element of what we're trying to do here is create a culture and a community of people who want to lift you higher.
Well, I'm glad you had a great trip to California.
Will you be my friend?
Okay.
And Cindy and Steve are here too.
Oh, wow.
Michael Thomas is coming up here today too. And we got about 35 people showing up at Super Soul tonight for a retreat with me and Cindy.
All right.
I know. Right.
Okay, let's get this moving. Keep it moving forward. I see you are just prepared to.
It's been a long weekend. Don't you want to just catch up?
No, that was great. Now you move on to the next stage, right?
Okay.
Like you could ask me about my weekend. That would be one.
Well,
way
I thought you were sick. I thought that was your weekend.
I told you I wasn't sick
more
the
to
whole
it?
weekend. I was just sick yesterday.
Okay. What did you do?
Well, you know, on Saturday there's this 150th the celebration of the 150th anniversary of the birth of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that took place in Times Square. Right?
That's very cool.
It was, I mean, yeah, it was, you know, it's kind of surreal a bit, but I enjoyed going there. Saw a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time, but you know, you're sitting right there in the middle of Times Square celebrating the life of this great
Was there a big
Gaudiya
poster of
Vaishnava Bhakti
Bhakti
yogi.
Siddhanta
There was.
Saraswati Thakur?
Yeah, there was.
That's very cool.
So that was nice. Other than that, I just tried to get some work done, you know.
So you had a kirtan, you were part of a kirtan in Times Square.
Kirtan in Times Square.
Nice. Was it on the big billboard? Could you see it like
No, it wasn't on
Bhakti
any.
Siddhanta?
I mean, it's millions of big. It's not billboards anymore. Raghunath. It's all like these, you know, big.
You mean Times Square has changed since 1974 when I was there last?
Yeah, right. Billboard with like the cowboy blowing the smoke and Marlboro cowboy like blowing.
I was like,
smoke rings.
wow, there's smoke coming out of that billboard. This is next level. No. Now they're like 3D, isn't it? Like right?
Well, it's all big lighted, big, huge, massive screens.
Right. Okay. Was Bhakti Siddhanta in one of those?
No.
Wouldn't that be great?
There wasn't.
That's where we have to go next in our Krishna consciousness. 3D billboards.
Okay. All right. Now, why don't we check in with Mara about announcements? See what she's got to say.
Miss Mara. Oh, wait a second. We have a special announcement here.
Okay.
You know, we were thinking about like getting together with people at the Ratha Yatra at the table, you know, because we're going to have a little table there where Kostub is going to be there. He's going to be there in person. You can touch him, feel his face. But we were thinking, you know, it would be nice to do something, but we can't hand out prashad because they already have a whole prashadam booth. And then we had this great idea. If anybody wants to bring like 12 cookies, 20 cookies that they offer with love and devotion, they should be maybe vegan, not gluten-free, but vegan, no eggs in there. And we bring to the table and we give out prashad. Whoever comes up, we give them a cookie. Isn't that a good idea?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So if you're going to come visit us and you want to make some cookies, you don't have to bring like 6 dozen cookies. Bring like 12, but you can bring 6 dozen.
Okay.
But you could just bring like 12,
bring your best cookie.
20. Yeah, bring the best cookie. Some people have like, well, I got a good cookie. You know, maybe people
we'll
like
put it
that.
up against cookie propose.
Yeah, Cookie Nath is the best right now. Well, let's have a little competition.
I think deep down, Raghunath's calculating and saying there's going to be a lot of leftover cookies at the end of the day.
You know what? Truthfully, I'm not a cookie man, but I will be on Saturday.
Okay, bring cookies. We'll see you on Saturday at the Wisdom of the Sages table at the Ratha Yatra celebration in Washington Square Park.
Yeah, if you want, you could just bring them and offer the bag to walk in front of Lord Jagannath's cart and offer them to Lord Jagannath. That's a good idea.
I'll be there at around 12 to set up the table. And of course, that's when the parade starts. And then we're there the whole afternoon until 6 or so, something like that, right?
That'd be
but
great.
I think the real thing is we should be having rock and kirtan there the whole time.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Let's make this happen.
You ready, guys? We're going to do this.
Okay. Now, Mara,
Mara, give me one of your announcements. Not as exciting as that cookie announcement. So,
Bhakti recovery group meetings today. The men are meeting at noon and the women are meeting at 2.
okay, I got an announcement to make.
yeah.
Yeah. So this program I'm doing in London, with Vaisheshika Prabhu, that's June 24th. It's a Saturday. It's like 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock. It's like a workshop, and we're breaking down the mind, sharing different kind of practices and exercises. It'll be really good. I might even bring on some special kirtan people into that too, and there'll be a light dinner that goes with it. But I really just thought it was a good opportunity for me to meet Wisdom of the Sages people from over there, from the UK. So if you want to attend that, it's a donation-based thing. You can sign up right now. You can go, the easiest way is just to go to my either my Facebook page or my Instagram page. And my Instagram, there's a link in the bio for this event. It's called Our Minds Are Just Computers. And click on that and register your spot. It's filling up. That's why I'm bringing it up. It's filling up. So if you want to get in on that, please do so quickly. Hope to meet you there.
Is that what is it actually filling up, or do you do one of the things?
It's actually filling up. It's filling up, and I'm a little worried it's going to fill up with non-Wisdom of the Sages people. Not that I don't want to meet, but I don't want the Wisdom of the Sages people not to miss out. That's my point.
Okay, I got you.
It's got like a 60-person capacity where the program is. So
okay,
I don't want it to all fill up, and then like a lot of Wisdom of the Sages people like, oh, I missed out.
You want to just have like your little echo chamber supporting you. Yeah, because she was the best.
What is your problem?
Okay, let's do this. You're the best.
Atmavan Manyate Jagat right there.
Okay.
Let's get into Bhagavatam. It's been a while.
Naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we start the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamasloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes. The torchlight of knowledge, I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Yeah.
Reading from the Srimad-Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 15.
Okay, so do you remember at all what's happening here? Because I could refresh
I barely remember you this morning.
Okay. So,
Mr. Das.
We have chapters and chapters towards the end of the 5th canto that are describing the universe. So a lot of it is measurements and stuff like that, and we're skipping over a lot of that, kind of summarizing a lot of that. I shouldn't say skipping over, we're summarizing.
We're summarizing. We're not skipping nothing.
Yeah. But part of what's being done, part of what the brilliant Srila Vyasadeva is doing through this, is he's showing us that like there's devotion for Vishnu, there's devotion for Krishna all over the universe. It's really, the whole thing is centered around God. And so, like in the last chapter, it was describing the descent of the Ganges, and we heard about how when the Ganges hits the pole star, Dhruva is there, and Dhruva has his, how he relates to the Ganges. And then we heard about the Saptarishis, the 7 great sages, and how they did. And then we heard about Lord Shiva and how Lord Shiva offers his prayers to Lord Vishnu. Now in this chapter, we're going to all the.
Well, Kastuba, I just muted you by mistake.
Okay.
Unmute yourself again.
So in this chapter, we're traveling to these different areas of the universe called Varshas. And in what's happening is we're hearing who's there in those Varshas and how they're praying to Lord Vishnu. And we just read a nice section of verses that had Prahlad right, in the area called Hari Varsha, and he was offering outstanding verses, right?
Hmm.
And now we're moving over to another area. It's called Ketu Mala Varsha. There, Krishna exists in a form called Kamadeva.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Kamadeva, like, is generally translated as like Cupid. Like we say, Cupid is kind of like,
Yeah, it makes everybody fall in love. Shoots his arrows in your heart, makes you fall in love.
yeah, and also that he's extremely like just enchanting. His own beauty and so on is very enchanting. So in this area, they worship Lord Vishnu as Kamadeva, and we're going to hear prayers from none other than Lakshmi Devi herself, the divine consort of Lord Vishnu.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
In the
Text
tract of
15.
land
Oh, the text
called,
15.
I got you. In the tract of land called Kitumala.
Oh, why don't you say Shukadeva Goswami continue? Why are you
Well,
skipping?
because I was trying to like jump right in.
Okay, but we want to know who's speaking.
Sukadev speaking, of course. He's the narrator.
Okay.
So the narrator is speaking, and now I'll put on my other hat, in the Sukadev Goswami hat. In the tract of land called Ketumala Varsh, Ketumala Varsh, Lord Vishnu lives in the form of Kamadev, only for the satisfaction of his devotees.
That's why he lives. That's what he lives for.
Yeah.
What do you live for? You live because you want to make the people that you love happy. You feel good.
What does a parent live for? They live for
the happiness of the kids.
Happiness of the kids. And when the kids grow up and move out, they're like, oh, what do we do with our life? Right? When they're dating, when the parents are dating, it's like, oh, look at our life. Then they have a kid. Everything changes. Well, this kid. Oh, it's all about the kid. What happened to us? And it's all about the kids and then another kid to play with that kid. And they grow up and it's all about those kids and the parents are fighting and the kids are, we need some time for ourselves. This is like the circle of life. And then the kids grow up and move out and they're like, do we even know each other? And that happens. And they have to refigure out what life is about, sans kids.
You got the whole Harry Chapin thing going on.
Yeah. Oh, that's where you're going with that?
What is that song?
Cats in the Cradle?
Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon.
Oh, man.
Okay, so yeah, Lord Vishnu, it's not this God that doesn't care and is forcing everyone. He lives for the satisfaction of his devotees, right? That's the only reason why he's existing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's beautiful. There again is the Fibonacci spiral. You see that Lord Vishnu we're similar to Lord Vishnu in our loving desire to, in a healthy way, love our children, take care of our children. Lord Vishnu's feeling the same way. So these include Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, the Prajapati, Samvatsara, and all of Samvatsara's sons and daughters. They are also living there. Yeah. The daughters of Prajapati are considered the controlling deities of the nights, and his sons are considered the controllers of the days. Interesting. Right? The Prajapati's offspring number, right? Because the Prajapati is one who gives progeny to multiple.
Just see the word connection right there, brother. I never even picked up on it, right?
Praja, you little word nerd. Praja, progeny. Praja, progeny.
Thank you.
Prajapati's offspring number 36,000. One for each day and each night in the lifetime of a human being. Okay,
so there's 36,000 days and nights.
It's very interesting, huh?
Lifetime of if you live 100 years, roughly.
I think that just the concept of a Prajapati is fascinating. That they can give birth to different beings.
Yeah.
You know? Imagine it's like, is it a boy or a girl? It's a baby giraffe.
Oh my God, it's a new. You haven't seen one.
To a baby giraffe. But that's what it is. Okay. You think about generations back of Kostubas. Isn't it interesting to think like 500 years ago in your bloodline, there was a guy that looked just like you.
When I was in Italy, I was in Assisi and we were in some shop, just talking with some shop owner. And he was like, oh yeah, like you know, it's like in my hometown, everybody looks exactly like you, like. Really?
I always find people in Italy. I was like, you look like me. You look like me.
And they're like, no, I don't think so.
No. I must go. I must go now.
I must go now. Crazy American.
That is true, huh? The
Okay,
daughters of
Prajapatis- yeah.
the daughters of the
Prajapatis
Prajapati.
offspring number.
The Prajapati's offspring number 36,000, one for each day and each night in the lifetime of a human being. At the end of each year, the Prajapati's daughters become very agitated upon seeing the extremely effulgent disk of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus they all suffer miscarriages.
It got a little dark
What?
right there. You know,
It
it's
got a little dark. I thought it was
it's-
going to get lighter.
no, it's metaphorical here.
Well,
But
tell me.
think of it this way. It's saying that like the daughters represent the nights of our lifetime, right? The sons represent the days of our lifetime. And so here it's saying that, you know, what's born of our days and our nights is ultimately destroyed by time, right? So the effulgent disk, the extremely effulgent disk, that's the Kala Chakra, you know, like the element of time. So even on these higher planets where there's so much pleasure gardens, you know, whatever is produced from our time there, ultimately that's destroyed too. Prabhupada writes here, he says, by calculating 100 years of days and nights, one attains a total of 360,000 days and nights. So the fetuses of these 360,000 married daughters, which means the nights along with the days of human life, are destroyed by the power of the Kala Chakra, the Maha Astra, the great weapon, you could say, right? So it says the fetuses refer to the time with its minutes and seconds, or to the parabdha karma, results of the inhabitants enjoying in the land. So that means what's being destroyed, we could either say it's just the time itself, right? Like, in other words, the time passes and it's gone. Or you could say the parabdha karma, whatever we've attained through our good works, or bad works for that matter, is ultimately time takes that away.
All right. Text 16. In Ketumalavarsh, Lord Kamadev, Prajumna, moves very graciously.
Imagine what it'd be like to see him move.
Yeah, some people don't move graceful. You know what I mean? They're like, whoa, boo, 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 boo.
He's moving more graceful than anything we've ever seen.
And then
before.
some people move very gracefully. Right. So imagine Lord Kamadev himself, the incarnation of grace, moves very graciously. And his smile is very beautiful. And when he increases, his mild smile is very beautiful. And when he increases the beauty of his face by slightly raising his eyebrows and glancing playfully, he pleases the goddess of fortune.
He can just so easily, right? His beauty is just like so overpowering, right?
We are such a sad reflection of the goddess of fortune and Prajuma, aren't we? We might have a little bit of swagger.
Sometimes
a little bit of like lift our eyebrows, but ultimately everything's just getting older and smellier.
Sometimes you see someone with a really beautiful face, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, whoa, they really got something there, you know? But even that, it's like, it's not much more than, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and even that, and it very quickly starts to fade, right?
Yes, it does.
Here's someone with eternal beauty, but just a beauty that's so overpowering. He can just lift one eyebrow and it's like your heart is just like your mind, your heart is like just completely captivated. You feel
well, it's eternal beauty too. It's eternal beauty. It's like our beauty, and we're quite beautiful, Kastuba, you and I.
Yeah.
It's melting. It's melting like a hot candle. You know what I mean? And so it goes away.
Yeah.
I always joke about like when my mom always says something, she'll always bring some movie star from the 50s, Elizabeth Taylor's dead. Oh no. And I was like, well, who's Elizabeth Taylor? Like, I'm like I don't know anything about old movies. She's like, she's the most beautiful woman in the world. And then she shows some picture of her now or something of her when she was very old. And it's like, that's the most beautiful, because even the most beautiful people, we just age.
Mm-hmm.
But this is talking about an eternal beauty. So we are these reflections of these eternal beings beyond archetypes. They're the origin of beauty.
You know what we're going to hear now, Raghunath?
Yeah.
Now we're going to hear, did we finish the verse?
No. Well,
why don't we finish the verse?
Thus he enjoys transcendental senses. Thus he enjoys his transcendental senses.
That was text 16. Okay. Well, then read the next verse.
accompanied during the daytime by the sons of the Prajapati, the predominating deities of the days, and accompanied by at night by his daughters, the deities of the nights. Lakshmi Devi Ji worships the Lord during the period known as Samvatsara in his most merciful form as Kamadev. Fully absorbed in devotional service, she chants the following mantras.
Okay. So I think also what's being illustrated here is that both day and night, Lakshmi Devi is just completely consumed with glorifying Lord Vishnu, right? With love just pouring from her heart. Just like, we're just trying to draw some kind of like, basically, I suppose what I'm just trying to do is, there's a way to understand this, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's, I tell you, Raghunath, like I was having a conversation with one person once, and we're talking about marriage relationships, right?
Yeah.
And this person, she had a very, very, I would call like an extreme feminist kind of mindset.
Okay.
And she was saying, well, like, why should a wife cook for her husband? And I was just trying, because she loves him. It's like, because she loves him.
It's hard.
It's like if you're we're all caught we live in a world of exploitation, so we're like kind of very wary,
always on the defensive,
always on the defense. Yeah, it's so extreme.
We throw this word around, servant. Oh, servant, I'll be a great servant. Let me serve you. Servant to most people is like the lowest thing you could. How dare you? What do you think? I'm your servant?
Would you keep me out in the servants' quarters or something?
Yeah, well, please give me the servants' quarters.
And so,
I don't even need the servants' quarters. I'll stay in a tent.
So when we hear, Lakshmi is just like 24 hours, you see, because it's saying that she's praying along with the predominating deities of the days and the predominating deities of the nights. She's praying all day and all night, 24 hours. What is she like? Like, what a horrible life. No, just think about like for instance, Raghunath, when sometimes you see parents, right, and their kids do some wonderful things. Like I'd imagine even, like someone who's like a real Gyani in one sense, like someone like Tukaram, who's like kind of fixed in his Gita and Upanishad kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
Still, he's probably right now just showing pictures of the wedding to people, and because he feels love for his kids, he wants to glorify them,
Yeah.
Naturally. The one that you love, you want to speak about, you want to glorify, it gives you pleasure. It's like, it's kind of when you have love for someone, it's welling up inside you, and you have to share it, you have to, it has to come out, So her love is so complete, is so deep for Lord Vishnu, that day and night, she's offering prayers like the ones that we're about to hear.
Devotees are so great, like Mara and Mallory, there's like a feast here, there's a feast here at the farm, and, we're all serving out the guests. They're coming around with their plates. And then, I always get to this point. I'm like, okay, I want to eat now. And they're all like, oh, let us serve you. I was like, oh, you guys. It's like the eager thing is not just to not eat and serve everybody else, even though everybody's been working all day. Everybody's exhausted all day. They're like, okay, now we're going to be the servants. And I'm like, yeah, look at me. I'm the servant. I'm cool. But then it's like, when I've had enough, I was like, all right, now I'm ready to eat. They're like, well, let me serve you. Let me serve the servant. That's how devotees think. Let me serve the servant.
Yeah. So she's just caught. And, now we're going to hear the prayers of Lakshmi Devi. And you know what they're going to remind me of a little bit, Raghunath?
What?
They remind me a little bit of, there's this chapter in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, where, do you remember that passage where Krishna kind of like teases Rukmini a little bit? Because like Krishna,
he's teasy. He's teasy.
He's teasing because Krishna's relationship, he's got all varieties of loving. This is when we get to the esoteric side of Bhakti, right? This isn't for people that are brand new to this, but on the esoteric side of Bhakti, it has everything to do with what we call rasa, or the beautiful nuances of love and the varieties of love and the tastes of those love that Krishna is sharing with unlimited beings, each one unique in its own way, right? Although they can be categorized in certain ways, each one is unique. And so Krishna has, like in Vrindavan, the way that Krishna loves the girls there, the Gopis, even amongst them, there's all different varieties, but it's not uncommon that sometimes these girlfriends are kind of sassy,
Oh yeah,
right?
got some sassy.
So it's like sometimes he's teasing them and they're teasing him. It's going both ways. It's like, and he enjoys that flavor, right? He enjoys that flavor of a little sassiness, a little teasing, a little putting the other one down out of love, and getting a little kickback, and enjoying that loving taste. We see that,
Mm.
even in our own relationships. Sometimes it's like that a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes Mara says she
Mara's
rolls
not
her eyes
sassy.
and throws something
Mara's
at
not
you,
sassy.
and
Well, yeah,
she
maybe
gets a
you are
little
sassy.
sassy sometimes. I've
She
seen
does roll her eyes occasionally
it.
on the podcast.
And so Krishna has this kind of relationship, especially with the Gopis and Vrindavan, and he kind of tried to play that with Rukmini. Now the
Rukmini's
relationship,
not sassy.
not like that. No, so like this is one of his queens in Dwarka, and it's kind of more like their mood is a little bit more reverential. In Vrindavan, Krishna, to the Gopis, Krishna is just a village boy. But to the queens in Dwarka, Krishna's like a king, or like a great prince.
Well, he's got some sassy queens too.
He does a bit. I mean, there's Satyabhama and all,
Satyabhama is very sassy.
but nothing like the Gopis. I mean, the Gopis are really. But in any case, so he tried to play that a little bit with Rukmini, like who's like the number one queen in Dwarka, and he kind of said, what did he say? Like, you should just I'm not good enough for you. You should just go find
just go
yourself
back to your
another
father.
man. One of these other kings, they were all really into you. Shishapal was into you. Maybe
why'd you pick me? I'm so lowborn. Come on.
And
maybe
so
you should just go back.
He was kind of teasing her a little bit like that.
But it was really hurtful.
When she heard it, she fainted. Her love for him is like so intense, and she wasn't prepared to understand where he was coming from.
I've given everything to you. Why would you say this?
And then she began to pray in a particular way. And we're going to get a similar mood here from Lakshmi Devi. But what Rukmini expressed, this is really important for every living being to hear.
Every living being?
Every living being.
Oh, because my bushes just came closer.
Okay.
All my bushes, my rhododendrons.
They will benefit. Okay. But sometimes we say, Raghunath, that in one sense, Krishna is the male and all the rest of us are female. Right? It's like we all have this potential for this special relationship with Krishna. And she's praying. What other husband can compare to you? There's no one else. All of these earthly beings that we search, we're all here on earth searching for that perfect love, but none of them can compare with you. Right? Not even close. And then she goes on to list his attributes and so on. And it's just kind of a way of saying, I mean, we can hear that. And as men feel insecure, right? Like, oh, I'm not a good enough husband or something like that. Like I'm being put down. But really what it's saying is that we're looking in the reflection for what's only can truly be found in the substance that's being reflected, right? Whether we're a man or a woman or whatever, we're wandering around in this world looking to find that, can be completed by someone within this temporary realm where everything's growing old. Everything is, the bodies that we become so attracted to are really, they're not like Krishna's body, right? Like these bodies, they got all kind of problems. They got all kind of faults. They got all defects. And not only that, but the character. And in all the qualities, the beauty, the knowledge, the power, the influence, the kindness, the sweetness, nothing can compare with Krishna's sweetness, Raghunath. True?
No. Krishna's the most sweet.
So Rukmini begins to pray that way. You told me to go find another man. What other man could I ever possibly even conceive of going after? Why would I ever go after one of these illusory forms when there's you? She's saying like that. And Lakshmi Devi is going to pray kind of like that here too.
Speaking of sweet, just reminded me. Madhava, because Madhava means sweet like honey. Madhava, the famous kirtan singer, is at Super Soul this Thursday.
Oh, that's awesome.
This evening. We have a retreat, but it's going to be the ending evening kirtan of the retreat. So if you're interested, if you're not on my mailing list, or the Super Soul man, you can go to raghunath.yoga, get on my mailing list, and you can register for it.
So if you're upstate, you go check that out on a Thursday night. And if you're in the city, Thursday night kirtan. That'll be
Thursday
the
night
place to be.
kirtan at the Bhakti Center.
Before the Ratha Yatra, it'll be off the hook, as they say.
Yeah, ours is gonna be practically like there's no hook. There's no hook to be on.
But then
Ours
it's
is
not
gonna
quite
be,
the same.
ours is gonna
It's
be
like
fire. We're gonna
the
burn
ex-
it down.
The experience of getting off the hook.
Spontaneously combusting the yoga studio
Okay.
with sweetness.
First the kitchen and now the yoga studio.
Yeah, boom. Imagine that during kirtan, we just light our. Oh, it's too hard. He blew.
We're all on fire.
You're on fire. How was the kirtan? Ooh, it was hot. It was hot. They all lit up. What do you mean?
All right. Let's hear these prayers right now.
Text 18. Here's Lakshmi Ji. Let me offer my respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead, Lord Rishikesh, the controller of all my senses and the origin of everything. As the supreme master of all bodily, mental, and intellectual activities, he is the only enjoyer of their results.
You could write books on that right there, just that point.
Yeah.
But let's hear the whole verse.
But I'll continue.
Yeah.
The 5 sense objects and the 11 senses, including the mind, are his partial manifestations.
Okay.
He supplies all the necessities of life, which are his energy, and thus non-different from him.
Okay.
And he is the cause of everyone's bodily and mental prowess.
Okay.
Right? Don't get proud. It's Krishna's, which is also non-different from him. Indeed, he is the husband and provider of necessities for all living entities.
Okay.
The purpose, I really
He's
get
the
in touch
pati.
with my feminine.
Are you
when
getting
I
in touch
hear
with your
this.
feminine nature?
I am, because he's my husband.
Okay.
Right?
He's everything.
The purpose of all the Vedas is to worship him.
That's very important. That's
the purpose. That's the t-shirt right there.
he said in the Gita, now he says it here, right?
Knit that one.
This is Lakshmi saying this.
Into your scarf of pain.
What?
Scarf of pain is in the house, yo.
Your what? Scarf of pain.
We're scarf of pain. Okay, the purpose of all the Vedas is to worship him. Therefore, let us offer him our respectful obeisances. May he always be favorable towards us in this life and in the next.
Raghunath, in this
Where do you
verse,
begin?
it's a key to the universe, right? Now what might be helpful here is if we snap on over to the old virtual reality metaphor, right? Because if you're in a virtual reality, someone has designed everything in that virtual reality for you. Someone has designed your body. Someone has designed your eyes. Someone has designed what you're seeing with your eyes, right? You with me?
Yeah, I'm living
Okay.
it.
So imagine if you were in a virtual reality designed by someone who loves you dearly, right? Who's and who just wants nothing, who's willing to like facilitate your desire to experience this illusion, but knows that your best interest is to come back out of the virtual reality and relate with them in love. Then they're going to produce this world for you because you desired it. But they're the ones, but whatever I find in this virtual world, whether it be in the form of another person, whether it be in the form of something that I enjoy through my senses, whether it be my senses themselves, they were all designed by this person who loves me outside the virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lakshmi's saying, what are these senses? You give me these senses, and they're meant to be reconnected to you. Everything that's within this realm is supplied by you. Nobody else is supplying anything. You're the whole point. You're the whole focus. You're what it's all about. Let me not forget that main point.
Our science is so interesting. Our science is to study what's in the virtual reality,
Yeah.
but not what the source of the virtual reality is.
Exactly.
Let me see what this illusory plant or this illusory ocean or this illusory fish is like. Let's see how these things tick. It's part of the illusion. It's part of the magic trick that's going on.
It's kind of like, in one sense, there's nothing wrong with a scientist studying the things of this world and sharing what they've discovered, right? but the thing is, when you do that, you see, the scientific mind has to come together with the philosophical mind, has to come together with the theological mind in order to get the whole picture.
You can't cut the theological mind out of it. It's like,
Yeah.
first of all, and we don't even know how far removed we are because we're in so much illusion. Like, okay, in the distance is a lake. I'm driving through Nevada on a hot summer day, and I see a lake. Let's study that. Let's sit here and study that lake. How much can you find out about that lake? It's a total illusion. Then I get closer and realize, well, the lake has moved. Let's study that. And then we start to realize, no, it's not a lake. It's an illusion. So we start to study the illusion. It's
Right.
heat reflected, it's heat rising from the tarmac, which is reflecting with the sun's light. And then we're studying that. How deep does this illusion go? And then we got to study the sun. Then we got to study what heat. Layers and layers of Maya.
The layers of the material energy are so vast that the scientists, when the ones that have some sense of humility, they realize we're just scratching the surface of just the material energy.
Yeah.
And then we go and make these bold proclamations about total existence when you don't even have any facility to try to understand that. So that's why it's like, if you're in that virtual reality, and say you have 3 people in the virtual reality, right?
Yeah.
One of them is a scientist, one of them is a philosopher, and one of them is a theologian, right? And they're all in the virtual reality together. And the scientist is like, he's examining whatever is in that virtual world and discovering amazing things, penetrating deep, sometimes making mistakes, sometimes realizing, oh, I was wrong, right? That happens too. And so his conclusions are evolving, you could say. But he becomes convinced that he understands everything and that nothing exists outside the virtual reality. How could he know that? All that he can, and then he comes through with some logic, like saying, well, there's no need for anything. This all could exist without a virtual reality designer. I'm convinced of it. You need to have the philosopher and bring him in. Why are we in this world? Someone's got to be thinking on that level too. Someone also has to be saying, you know what? Different texts have been downloaded into this virtual reality with a lot of amazing ideas. Maybe they're coming from outside the virtual reality. We need to consider all these traditions and what they're saying too. Let's blend all 3 levels of thought together and see if we can understand something more about our condition in this virtual reality.
These are all fictitious. All these things coming from outside. There's nothing except this virtual reality.
Yeah.
It sounds so crazy, huh?
It gets crazy sometimes, Raghunath.
Yeah.
All right. So what Lakshmi Devi is saying is everything within our virtual reality is all supplied, is all provided, and is all by Vishnu, and it's all meant, whatever we have here should just be re-engaged in connecting us or reconnecting us with him.
Okay. Text
19.
19. My dear Lord, you are certainly the fully independent master of the senses. Therefore, all women who worship you by strictly observing vows because they wish to acquire a husband to satisfy their senses are surely under illusion. There you go. There's no one out there that will satisfy your senses. They do not know. Krishna is the ultimate soulmate. It's good to know. God is the ultimate soulmate. They do not know that such a husband cannot actually give protection to them or their children. Ooh.
But we may pose, like a husband may pose as a protector.
I've got this. Let me go downstairs with a baseball bat. And they're right.
Think of you wandering around that time in the snow when that guy showed up in your driveway in the middle of the night. You're wandering around.
How the time I almost hit Mallory with a hammer. I woke up in the middle of the night, grabbed the hammer. I'm like, go downstairs, and Mary's like, I think it's just Mallory. And I'm like,
You say middle of the night. It was like 9:30.
Oh, that means that all of his other stories are questionable too.
Oh, Krishna.
But as Krishna, what did we just hear? That how gracefully he moves, right?
Yeah.
Raghunath walking around in his underwear with a ball peen hammer, trying to protect. the household.
Therefore, okay, nor, okay, they do not know that such a husband cannot actually give protection to them or their children, nor can he protect their wealth or duration of life. For he himself is dependent on time, fruitive results, right? That's the karma. And the gunas.
Time, karma, and the gunas. These three.
Right.
We should start here tomorrow because there's a lot here.
Which are all subordinate to you. Even this podcast is under the influence of time, aren't we?
Yeah, but right now, very clever.
Right now.
What a segue into marriage.
Right? You like that? It's 6:57.
Nice.
Oh, we're subject to time and the gunas. And what's the other one?
Disease. Time, the gunas, and karma. These three are the programs that have been downloaded and installed into the virtual reality of this world.
Actually, the whole last one was very, very deep. We could just tease that whole thing.
Let's get into it tomorrow. We'll do that.
The man is the protector. You'll protect me. No, he won't. No, he won't. No one can protect you except the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
That's it. I mean, anyway, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
I know. I want to go a million places with this.
We'll go a million places tomorrow.
Okay, Scarf of Pain. What you got for me? Scarf of Pain is in the house.
Okay. That was an eye roll. I just saw the eye roll right there.
No. Bhakti culture is ripe for explosion.
It is.
Kaboom! Did anybody ever eat that cereal, Kaboom?
Oh, Raghunath, you see, you'll just go anywhere. You'll just go anywhere.
Anywhere
friends. Trivial.
Well, it's the end of the show. We're allowed to.
Find friends that lift us higher.
There you go.
Our beauty is melting.
Melting.
It gives one pleasure to glorify their beloved.
It sure does. I'm going to glorify Raghu a little right now. Raghu,
Pleasure me.
You're a wonderful person.
That's stupid.
Control yourself, Raghunath, please. We're almost done. Mara.
Let me serve the servant.
Yes.
The purpose of all the Vedas is to worship Krishna.
That's the fact.
That's it. That's the ultimate fact.
The world is designed for us to get out of the virtual reality.
Okay.
You know what I've been doing a lot lately? I've just been singing that. I really don't know clouds at all. I've been sitting like in silence,
Out loud?
singing that song. No, privately.
Okay, good.
Sitting in silence, but singing that song. Crying.
Crying. That's
crying. It's really a touching song.
Oh, Raghunath.
Study the source,
sharing
not the
that,
illusion.
What's that?
Study the source, not the illusion.
Study the source.
God is the ultimate soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You could say he's the only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And congratulations. It's a baby giraffe.
Adorable.
You ever see a baby giraffe just taking their first steps, Raghunath?
Yeah, they are adorable, those baby giraffes.
Sometimes I send you the giraffe emoji, don't I?
Sometimes you do, a crying giraffe or a happy giraffe.
I switch over from dinosaur to giraffe.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's all on, everybody. Look who's here. It's Stephen Walters and Cindy Lunsford. Sage Group AM, they're here. Narayani's here, and guess what? Narayani's starting a gang to go against Mara's gang. They're called the Crochet Gang. And the Crochet crew is trying to start a little war against, they're a bunch of street toughs from Germany, from Switzerland.
Throw down.
The Knit Knockers versus the Crochet Cronies.
The Cro-Mags.
Thanks everybody for joining us here. It's going to be a crocheting war here at the farm today. We're getting ready for a bunch of people to pile on in. Hey, Thursday, join us for Madhava. Not Madhava. Lord Pack and the Chief are coming? What? What's going on? Not Madhava's rock band, but they should come too. That would be really good. Madhava's rock band putting on some type of crazy performance, dancing, singing, spinning.
Oh, imagine if Madhava's rock band was at the Ratha Yatra. I don't think you'd be losing.
Oh my God. I'd be like headbanging in the front row. Spinning in joy, loving, spinning spinning around. You know when you grab each other by the wrist, cross your wrist, and just start spinning? I'd be doing that for Madhava's rock band.
Nice.
Oh, that's it. It's another show in the can, my friend. Radhe.